Hey everyone, Two Angry Frogs here, and there's a lot of gear dropping in Pandaria Remix. Everything from scenario, raid, and dungeon boss drops to opening caches of the infinite is raining gear down upon us. And honestly, the majority of the gear does not matter. So how does the gearing actually work, and what content drops what types of gear? And what is the one thing that you might consider not doing with Remix gear? We'll go over all of this so you know when gear drops matter and when they don't, and how to max out your character depending on the content you're interested in. But before we begin, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you always know what we're up to next. And don't forget to join for custom emotes, badges, and more. Now, let's get into it. So there really is nothing you need to do as far as gear item level. The item levels naturally increase as your character levels, and greater levels will drop at specific breakpoints. At level 70, gear maxes out at 346 item level, and then it is about the quality of the gear. As with most gear types in World of Warcraft, we have common, rare, and epic gear. Common gear randomly drops from bosses in LFR and normal dungeons and scenarios, and can also randomly drop from opening infinite caches. Rare gear drops from normal raid bosses, and can randomly drop from heroic dungeon and scenario bosses. And epic gear drops from heroic raid bosses. All types of gear have a random chance to drop when defeating enemies and world bosses. So what is the difference in the gear if the item level is always 346? Common gear has a random secondary stat such as haste and mastery. Rare gear has a random secondary stat and some level of your main stat. I've seen this anywhere from 52 to 96 agility on the hunter. Epic gear adds another random secondary stat in addition to what is on rare gear. For your weapon, it's always stamina and your main stats such as agility. Your trinkets, rings, and net gear have stamina and are only obtainable by completing achievements. Unlike all other gear, these are at 342 item level. The most important piece of gear you have is your cloak. The Cloak of Infinite Potential is a legendary item that adds more power to your character than any other piece of gear due to the stats on the cloak being infinitely upgradable. You learn about and receive the cloak during the Pandaria Remix introductory quests on the Timeless Isle. So how do we upgrade it? This is done through Threads of Time and is completely random, so the RNG can be a killer. Blizzard, I do not need any more versatility, I need haste. Please give me haste. Threads of Time can drop from everything including defeating enemies, defeating bosses, and opening infinite caches, and add secondary stat, stamina, and experience levels to your cloak. So let's stop here for a moment and talk about the cloak experience boost. Unfortunately, the cloak does not work like we thought it would. First, how much percentage experience gain you obtain prior to level 70 is completely random. I ended at level 70 with 111%, while some of our other guild members were at 200%, and still others close to 300%. Blizzard has deployed a buff since Remix launch, so now completing LFR wings and defeating normal raid bosses award a perpetual thread of experience. For LFR wings, this adds 7% XP to your cloak, and for each normal raid boss, it adds 12% to your cloak. Second, and the biggest issue with the cloak is when reaching level 70, none of it really matters. All of your alts will start with a cloak that has the experience boost capped at 100%. So even though you are still getting additional XP percentage on your main, it has no impact on your alts. This is very, very unfortunate and is not exactly the speed leveling for alts that we thought we were getting. Finally, outside of the XP boost itself, there is another major issue with the cloak. For all of your alts, you start with a 100% XP boost and some level of your main stats, stamina, and versatility. All of your secondary stats are reset to 0. Again, this is very unfortunate. We do hope Blizzard makes some changes to this over the course of Remix to allow us to really take advantage of the cloak for alt leveling. Having said all that, for your level 70 character, you can gain some pretty crazy power levels as you continue to collect Threads of Time and increase your stat levels. And Blizzard just deployed a hotfix to help with this by awarding spools of eternal threads for all group content. These can give significant stat boosts, and from what I've seen so far, normal spools award 100, and greater spools can give up to 250 of a random stat, including your main stats such as agility. Your rings, trinket, and netgear pieces are all obtained through completing achievements. Rings include the Time Runner's Ring and Time Runner's Seal. The Time Runner's Ring is awarded when completing all Pandaria scenarios on heroic difficulty, and the Time Runner's Seal is awarded for completing all Pandaria dungeons on heroic difficulty. The first trinket, Time Runner's Idol, you receive when reaching level 70, and the second trinket, Time Runner's Beacon, requires completing the Escalation achievement, in which you need to complete 3 faction war quest lines. And finally, the neck piece requires completing the Pandaria Raids achievement, in which you must complete all Pandaria Raids on normal difficulty. All of these gear pieces contain 3 prismatic gem sockets, which allows you to add a lot to your chosen stats for your character. As you level up and gain higher level gear, you'll start getting gear with sockets. There are 4 types of gems, which include Meta, Cogwheel, Tinker, and Prismatic. Meta gems are equipped in the Helm gear slot. These are basically a trinket type ability on a 3-minute cooldown. Cogwheel gems are equipped in the Feet gear slot, and almost all of these are based on movement abilities from each class, such as the Rogue Sprint or the Mage Blink. There are a few that grant class utilities, such as Warlock Dark Pact and Rogue Vanish, and are not movement based. Tinker gems are equipped in the shoulder, wrist, hands, and waist gear slots. These provide on-equip abilities for damage healing and damage reduction. And then finally, Prismatic gems are equipped in the chest, legs, rings, trinkets, and neck gear slots. These come in 4 types, including Chipped, Flawed, Masterful, and Perfect. The stats provided by Prismatic gems are increased by combining 3 lower-level gems into the next higher level. So combining 3 Chip gems creates a Flawed, and 3 Flawed creates a Masterful, and so on. Prismatic gems are available for every character secondary stat, from Arbor and Leech to Haste and Critical Strike. You'll start with gear that has a single socket for Tinker and Stat gems, and as you level and get higher level gear, more sockets are added to your gear. At level 70, you'll end up with 12 Tinker gem slots and 21 Prismatic gem slots, along with the single Meta and Cogwheel gems. You can also buy asynchronized Prismatic gems from Lita Marutu in the Infinite Bazaar for 200 bronze each. These items will reward a random chip gem when opened. And a final quick note, you can scrap your gear without worrying about losing the gems. When you scrap a piece of gear that has gems socketed, the gems are automatically removed and put in your inventory. So you can save yourself the time from unsocketing everything and just scrap the gear as is. So with all of the gems, gear, scrolls, and other items, your inventory fills up pretty quick. And given that you will likely want to hold on to a lot of this stuff, how do we deal with the mess? In Pandaria Remix, you still have access to a personal bank. For Horde characters, the bank is found upstairs at the Shrine of 2 Moons, and for Alliance characters, you can find the bank in the Shrine of 7 Stars. Next to the bank, you'll see Ludwin, and this little guy sells 36 slot bags for 10 bronze each. So you have a great place to store all the items you want to hold on to and keep your inventory from overflowing. So now we get to the one thing you might consider not doing, and that is upgrading the item level of your gear. For one, it is extremely expensive in terms of bronze cost. Upgrading my bow alone by 1 rank would set me back 9,000 bronze, and there are 15 ranks above 346. Our minds might change on this if Blizzard reduces the cost, but right now it seems extraordinarily high. Not only that, but once you want to upgrade any piece of gear above 346, all of your gear must have been upgraded to the same rank. So for example, if I want to upgrade my weapon to rank 25 or item level 402, all of my gear must be at rank 24 or item level 388. Note that you cannot upgrade your rings, trinkets, or neck gear. Unless you're looking to get into higher difficulty content, such as heroic and mythic raiding, there really is no reason to spend the bronze on gear upgrades. But there is a loop that you can take advantage of here depending on what you plan to get into. Heroic and mythic raids drop a lot more bronze as would be expected. It's not uncommon to get over 30,000 bronze in a mythic clear of Siege of Orgrimmar. Upgrading your gear will be needed to complete this level of content, but you will make the bronze cost of upgrading and much more in higher difficulties. However, if you are in Remix for all the mounts, transmogs, and so on, save your bronze unless Blizzard significantly nerfs the upgrade cost. One thing to note here is that you do not have to worry about upgrading a piece of gear and then later getting another piece that has, for example, a better stat for your character. Once you have leveled a gear slot to a given rank, upgrading another piece of gear for that slot will grant a 95% discount on each rank upgrade. With Pandaria Remix, the gearing is very straightforward, and how you build your character is primarily determined by the gems you choose to socket in your gear. We know more changes are coming, so the devs are definitely seeing the players talking about Remix. We don't know what the changes are yet, but should find out soon. Let us know if you found anything else when it comes to gearing your character, and your thoughts on the gearing system down below in the comments. And everyone, have a great day.